Hey, CS1A students, I want to familiarize you with the structure of the class website so that you can access all of the materials that we'll be using this semester for CS1A. So I brought up my Firefox window. Firefox is the standard browser that we use in CS1A. Please use Firefox. I'm going to click over here and navigate to www.aligra.com, and that will pull up the home page of my business website. And in the lower right-hand column, there's a link that says click here for class website. Click on that, and now you'll be able to navigate various hierarchies of files, and I'm going to review those right now. I'm going to start out at Saddleback College. I'm going to navigate down and click on Summer for 2025, and I'm going to click on CS1A, which is our class. Now, these are all of the documents that are available for Summer CS1A. The most important documents will be in week 01. I'll go over those individually, but let me touch upon these other folders which are in alphabetical order. For example, appendices. Now I'm providing you with a copy of your textbook, but the copy of the textbook does not include all of the appendices. So those appendices are in this folder, and they're all useful. However, the ones that we will be using this semester would be, for example, Appendix D, which relates to flowcharting. I'm on a slow internet connection, and that's what that looks like. It's a 10-page appendix that overviews the fundamentals of flowcharting. And all of these others are of interest to you, in particular answers to checkpoint questions and also solutions to odd number review questions. Although those have been aggregated separately in individual files, that's Appendix N and Appendix O. And you'll see those coming up in a few minutes. And then, of course, you have a copy of your C++ book, and that will take a few minutes to load here. So I'm not going to wait for the book to load in its entirety. It's 1,242 pages, the 7th edition of the Gaddis book, starting out with C++. There are homework assignments for each chapter. I have let me rotate that for you. I have a very cursory overview of what you will be doing for each of these homework assignments. There is one difference, however. This semester you will not be turning in printed copies of the assignments. You're actually going to be submitting them on Canvas. But other than that, each of these files is a description of the problems that you'll be doing for each of the homework assignments. Navigating back to the base of the hierarchy, there's a Lab 01 that you're going to be doing this week. And I'm not going to describe the instructions which are listed here, but we will go over those in class. And you will be submitting that on Canvas for this semester. By the way, there's another document here that's really not part of the course, but I'm including it anyway because it's such a good summary of the entire C++ programming language, at least the version that we're going to be using for CS1A. It's called the C++ Language Tutorial. It is the document itself is obsolete in the sense that I don't believe it's been updated, but it contains all of the basics of the C++ programming language with simple illustrations and examples. In fact, it would make a very good textbook. It answers a lot of questions. This document was originally created in 2007. However, since then, Google has overtaken all of the resources for language support, including C++. So anytime you have a question about the C++ programming language, all you really need to do is go to Google. But in any case, this is a very nice document, and I've included it. Some students like to have copies of the PowerPoint charts that we use for each chapter that we review in class. Now, your textbook lectures are available on YouTube from a couple of different presenters. And these are the same PowerPoint charts that are used in those YouTube videos. I will, from time to time, review these PowerPoint charts in class. However, primarily I rely on you viewing the book lectures on YouTube, and if you want the PowerPoint charts to go along with those lectures, they're available here on the class website. So this may be a useful reference for a number of students. However, the most important aspect of what we're going to talk about now is what is in your first week folder. And in your first week folder, we have all of these various files. I'm going to review each of these files individually. And you may or may not find each of these files useful, but some of these files are material that you will be required to have printed out for class. So let's start going over that. These are not in logical order. These are in alphabetical order. So first of all, I had discussed previously Appendix N and Appendix O, which provide you with essentially study questions for your quizzes. Well, a very industrious student converted Appendix N and Appendix O into flashcards. God bless that student. And they're available on Quizlet. So you can navigate to Quizlet. There's no guarantee that this file will always be available on Quizlet, but if it is, it's a great study guide for preparing for your quizzes. So let's see. Again, I apologize. I am on a very slow internet connection. So here you are. Let's go down to CS1A, which is your first chapter, checkpoints and review flashcards. Click on that. And let's see. I clicked too fast. Main memory is, let's see. Both main memory and secondary storage are types of memory. Describe the difference between the two. Main memory is erased when power is lost. Secondary memory is used for long-term storage, won't disappear when losing power. And I believe if you can answer each of these flashcards, or if you review each of these flashcards, you will make an A on your first quiz. So that is flashcards. There's also a list of video lectures that you will be reviewing because I do not lecture in detail on your book chapters in class. Our class time is used to consolidate and give students a bigger picture of how the topic in the book relates to computer science in general. And there are a couple of lecturers on YouTube that students have found to be very good lecturers with very good material, which is key to your textbook. One of these by Dan Collins of Kingsborough Community College, which is broken up into a number of sub videos within these links. And then another set of lectures by Dr. James Camp at Lee College in Baytown, Texas. And again, these are broken down. These happen to be broken down by individual chapters. So if you click on any one of these, you will navigate to the appropriate YouTube video. And the nice thing about these lectures, of course, is that you can watch them at your leisure. You can pause, you can backspace, you can repeat, and you can study them over in detail. So very valuable resource.
Hello, this is
for
Dr.
this
James
class.
Camp from Lee College.
Okay, let's go back now. So those are the video lectures. By the way, as discussed in class, you will be submitting a class feedback form every day. I'll explain how to complete this because your 25% of your class participation grade, 25% of your overall class grade is class participation. And you use this class feedback form for your class participation. So you will have one of these printed out for the first day in class. So this is the first document that you really need to have printed out in paper. However, you will require a paper copy of the class feedback form for every other class session. Okay. There's something called a CS1A course outline, and I will discuss this further in class. But this is a description. It's kind of like the syllabus, which talks about all of the topics that we are required to discuss in class as registered with the state of California. This document is actually the official course outline registered with the state of California that authorizes credit for the presentation of CS1A. This is the document that's used if you transfer from one school to another school to assure that you meet the so-called articulation requirements of the state of California for that particular class. So that document, CS1A course outline, is here for your reference. I think the most important document is the class schedule, because I happen to stick to the class schedule rigorously. So always have a printed copy of your class schedule with you, because I stick to that religiously and I'm referring to it constantly in class. By the way, on the first day of class, you will introduce yourself to your classmates, have a printed copy of the student introduction form, because introducing yourself to your classmates is a graded assignment. I'll go over how to fill out this form in class, but it's pretty straightforward. Have this printed. You can even fill it out before you come into class and be prepared to introduce yourself to your classmates. Also, please print out the class syllabus, because we will be discussing the class syllabus in class, and the class syllabus is the principal study reference for your quiz 0. Your very, very first quiz of the semester is your syllabus quiz. So print out a copy of the class syllabus. By the way, I just put this together because I have students who come in and they're not sure how should they be spending their time preparing for CS1A. Now, the study requirements for CS1A, they're in your school catalog, I believe, in the college catalog. For a 3.5 unit class, you're expected to spend 7 to 10 hours of preparation time each week outside of class. Now, if you don't know how to budget your time to prepare for CS1A, here's a suggestion. Use the weekend to watch your YouTube videos for the assigned book chapter. Do your first pass reading. Before you come into class, which is your first class lecture, be prepared for your in-class discussion. Complete your in-depth reading of your class. Review your study guide. Be prepared for your chapter quiz, which will be on either Wednesday or Thursday, depending on your class schedule. And finally, on Friday, be prepared to submit your weekly homework assignments. So if you need some structure in how to prepare for this class, here's your weekly preparations guide. By the way, I've also included something here, not a part of CS1A, which is the course description, course outline for the next class, CS1B. So before you move into CS1B, as you complete CS1A, you can review this document and ask yourself questions like, am I prepared for CS1B? In fact, many instructors give a quiz to their CS1B students on the first day of class. Heads up, if you review the CS1B course outline before your first day of class in CS1B, you'll probably impress your instructor with how much you know. By the way, I'm providing you with a copy of the book online. I recommend that students have a hard copy of the book, and it used to be that there was a very good place to purchase a hard copy of the book, and that website seems to have gone away. I don't know. Students tell me that they get a good price on this particular book on the used book market just using Google. Now, finally, our principal form of communication in this class is on Twitter. Here are the instructions for you to set up your Twitter account. It is required that you have a Twitter account because you will be submitting your homework on Twitter. How in the world do you submit homework on Twitter? We'll discuss that further in class. Yes, I know that Elon Musk has purchased Twitter and changed the name of the service. However, I still call it Twitter, and the instructions given in this document for Twitter assignment still work. Please review all of these documents before we meet for the first time. And again, just to review, the documents you need to have printed for the first class day would be your class feedback form. It would be your CS1A schedule. It would be your student introduction form, and it would be your class syllabus. 4 of these documents need to be printed. All of these documents need to be reviewed. Thank you so much, students, for your attention. I'm really looking forward to meeting you on the first day of class. It will be an awesome semester. Thank you.